The Supreme Court has delivered a major blow to show transgender rights with its decision to uphold a Tennessee law that bars doctors from providing gender-affirming care, including puberty blockers, hormones, and surgical procedures for trans minors in the state.
Mr. Dumbass, I can bring a lot to Dumbass and Dumbass. I'm a go-getter. Dumbass material all the way. So, am I your man, Mr. Dumbass?
It permits the last at least 25 bans that states have passed against medical and surgical care for trans youth. Some states, such as Florida, have simply moved to restrict access to such care for adults. Right here we can see that there are bans on best practice medical care represent one of the most extreme and coordinated political attacks on transgender people in recent years. These bills target transgender youth by blocking their access to best practice medical care, care that is backed by years of rigorous research endorsed by the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Medical Association, and other leading such health authorities. These bills not only display a fundamental lack of understanding of trans children, but they also ban access to medical care, often by criminalizing either the doctors or even the parents of transgender youth seeking to provide best practice medicine for children in their care. Here are states that restrict access to medical care among trans youth. By the way, the green is that states have a shield protecting access to trans youth, and then the orange and then the dark orange that you can observe are state bans best practice surgical care for transgender youth, and the big red exclamation points you see on some of these, that would be the state ban making it a felony crime to provide certain forms of best practice medical care for transgender youth. Well, I called it. I knew it would go this way. I said it when this case was going to come out, that I guaranteed that it would get struck down by the court, and in a stunning 6-3 decision leaving discrimination up to the states to decide, banning trans youth access to medical care. But you know what? Why don't we hear the synopsis of what each of these jack-offs think about it? Justice John Roberts, holding that Tennessee's law does not discriminate based on sex or transgender status, but instead on age and medical purpose. Therefore, it only requires rational basis upon review, not a heightened standard, and easily passing that test. Justice Clarence Thomas agreed that the law didn't fall under sex discrimination. He warned against extending protections from the Bostock decision in the Equal Protection Clause. By the way, look that up. The Bostock decision is this one time where there were two gay people, Gerald Bostock and Donald Zarda, who got fired for being gay, and Amy Stevens, who got fired when they began presenting as a woman at work. So that's just great. You know, Justice Clarence Thomas never ceases to amaze me. The level of hypocrisy his life has given in the fact that he is literally a direct receiver of affirmative action. One of the first black people permitted into Yale, which makes him one of the first people to be jettisoned out of poor conditions, only for him to kick the ladder of the landmark decision ending DEIA requirements in college campuses.
Hey, listen, just walk right up. And I tell you, it's very safe, it's durable, and it's lightweight.
You're scaring me.
So really, see,
Wow.
now it's locked in place, okay? So really, you say,
Oh, God, Harold, are you okay?
actually, I didn't have it locked. You have to lock it.
All right, let's keep going. Come on. Sorry. This whole thing has just got me up in a bit of a tizzy this morning. I mean, I barely had my coffee, and I'm already dealing with this. The fact that the Supreme Court has single-handedly ruled that the discrimination of trans youth ought be left up to the states is completely idiotic. Let's continue on to the rest of these judges and their reasoning. Justice Neil Gorsuch, who joined Roberts in saying, providing that the majority reasoning without any separate commentary, gotta tell you, better get that bag while subjugating minorities. Am I right? Do you concur? Justice Neil Gorsuch. Justice Kavanaugh also agreeing. He agreed that the law is a neutral classification by the age diagnosis and thus constitutionally valid. Justice Coney Barrett, joining Roberts in concurrence, argued transgender status does not qualify as a protected or quasi-suspect class under the Constitution. Amazing! Justice Samuel Alito, concurring in judgment, partial joining, agreed with the outcome, but emphasized that transgender status is mutable and that the laws concerning it should not trigger heightened judicial scrutiny. Yeah, fucking right. Did you hear the idiot affirmative action hire Justice Clarence Thomas? This guy just got done referencing the Bostock case. If it isn't going to be trans youth, it's going to be the trans adults like they did in Florida. And if it isn't the trans adults, it's going to be the gays. And if it isn't going to be the gays, then guess what? You're next. That's what upholding rights really means in the USA. But the Supreme Court disagrees with basic rights apparently now. John Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, Samuel Alito. Shame! You've had the one option to uphold the United States Constitution, the basic inalienable rights of life, liberty, and property, and you have looked at that towards trans youth, some of the most vulnerable population in the United States, and have now confirmed this ought be left up to the states. Screw you! Why not show your true colors and dissent on the Civil Rights Act while you're at it? Why not kick every frickin' ladder you've ever got in life that put you there to begin with, ensuring nobody gets equal protection under the law, too? I just frickin' love these justices. Do you know what the Federalist Society is? It's insane. I got blown away when I found out about this festering cancer on the justice system. The Federalist Society is a powerful, conservative, legal organization which has significantly influenced the judicial nominations, especially under Republican leadership. To break it down simply, there is a large legal group that specifically tries to bring in conservative justices to a point under Republican leadership just to force laws to become more conservative backed.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Effectively, what that does, for anybody who doesn't realize, is that it weaponizes the legal system itself in being impartial to instead to simply back to conservative and often religious grounds. These giant assholes have been fostering a pipeline of conservative legal talent longer than most of you watching this video have been born. Starting from law schools to clerkships to federal appointments, membership of this group is a networking gateway into high-profile legal careers, especially among Republican legal circles. So basically, we got ourselves a gorgeous shadow judicial kingmaker. It just quietly shapes the judiciary with deeply conservative justices. Would you guess which justices are a part of the Federalist Society and which are not? That's right, you get a cookie. All the ones that upheld this ban, save for Justice John Roberts, are all members of the Federalist Society. Are you paying attention now that we have weaponized the justice system to discriminate against trans youth? I sure hope so. Anyway, let's hear from at least the last fragments of sanity, those that dissented in the opinion, and mind you, quite vocal about it too in their dissent. And at least we have some bizarre fragment, however ineffectual, of reason in the Supreme Court. Justice Sonia Sotomayor asserting that it is sex-based, stating that it lets cisgendered teens get puberty blockers and hormones for certain conditions while at the same time blocking trans teens. She has charged the majority with abandoning transgender children to political whims, warning of a state-sanctioned discrimination and untold harm.
Oh, shit.
Base. Exactly. Thank you. At least there's a hint of some sanity in the Supreme Court actually arguing for basic and inalienable rights for all individuals in the USA, but for today is not that time, sadly. Let's continue. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson backed Sotomayor in arguing that the law imposes sex-based classification deserving heightened scrutiny under which it would fail. Justice Elena Kagan, joining parts of Sotomayor's dissent, agreed on many sections of Sotomayor's reasoning, particularly that laws show blatant discrimination and harming of trans youth. Because the law permits medical treatments for cisgendered teens but denies the exact care on transgender teens for the same underlying dysphoria, and if you watch my content, such as congenital adrenal hyperplasia, a hormonal condition, or gynecomastia, a condition which causes boys to grow breasts during puberty, it constitutes unequal treatment based on sex and trans status. It should thus be subjected to intermediate scrutiny, and under that lens, it fails, especially given widespread professional consensus that gender-affirming care is safe and necessary by literally every medical institution in America.
Cool your jowls, Nixon. You may not like it that Dr. Zoidberg desecrated a flag. You may even find the image of it festering in his bowels somehow offensive. But the right to freedom of expression is guaranteed by the Earth Constitution.
Maybe so. But I know a place where the Constitution doesn't mean squat.
In my opinion, this is a huge setback, a gigantic middle finger in the face of the Constitution, and given for the trans community an erosion on the fundamental right to not be discriminated against all for a federalist society that wants to have rights for me, but not for thee, left up to the states, and this nonsense. Do it. Do it. Just do it. Go ahead. Just do it. I know what you want to do. Get rid of the Civil Rights Act. Federalist society? Yeah. Leave it up to the states. Who is the Supreme Court to tell people what rights people have? It should be left up to the states. Let it all go back to segregated restaurants. Let's get ourselves Jim Crow laws. Let's segregate the schools, the buses, the restaurants, the bathrooms, the drinking fountains, literacy tests on disenfranchised people for poll taxes, grandfather clauses, redlining. Let's do it. Come on. Are you really that unconstitutional, justices? Why not leave gay marriage up to the states? Go ahead. Yeah, let's see what the F happens when we completely eroded everyone's rights beyond all recognition. You fucking assholes. My name is First Amender. And I apologize. Normally I can be less impassioned, but I feel really strongly about this, and I think if you feel strongly about this too, well, consider a subscribe. Over and out.